Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Gary, and this is Physical Format Rock and Roll. Thank you for tuning in. I always appreciate that. We're going to jump on a thread here. It's a Friday. We're going cheap, which is a shame. I should be drinking something else because this thread, hold on a second. Cheers. This thread is for a guy that's not cheap. He's a high-class guy. And that would be Jack, the Vinyl Martini. Very classy guy. Got a great voice. Handsome fella. World traveler. He's just everything I'm not, is what he is. So Jack's thread. And here's the thing. When somebody does a thread, when they try to start a thread, if I can, jump on it, a lot of times I can't, and I apologize to anybody that I've slighted, but I try to stick to their original intent. They said this is what their thread is, so I try to do it instead of just changing it around to make it whatever I want and just make it another stupid video. So, not that this isn't a stupid video, I'm sure it is. But I'm trying to stick with what he said. And what he said was, hey, why don't you just show 5 albums? Because he showed 10, but he said, make it reasonable. He's basically saying nobody wants to see you show that many albums. So show 5 albums that you haven't listened to. His was like 35 years. Any albums that I have that I've had that long, I guarantee you I've still listened to them, okay? But out of records that I have gotten since I got back into vinyl, that's kind of what I'm going to focus on. And so, these are records that either I haven't listened to in a long time, or maybe I've never even listened to them. So he said, play them, get them out, listen to them again, tell us what you think. That was the intent of his video. So here you go, Jack. I'm going to start off with this. This is The Gods. I know some of you out there have heard of this band. Some of you haven't. They were actually from Ohio, I believe. And, they came out in the 70s or whatever. And I got to say, I'm not that impressed with it. Listen to it again. I mean, some of it's okay, but it's just kind of meathead rock and roll. This is probably, the way this sounds to me is probably the way all rock and roll sounds to Brian, the embryonic robot. I imagine when he puts on like something that I think is kick-ass, like Nazareth or something, he's going, oh, this is beneath me. So, can't say I'll be listening to that anytime soon. Next up, we've got Kansas. This is their album from, I think, 75. Songs for America. Isn't that what this is? Anyway, I had never listened to it. I've had this album for a long time, but I've just never listened to it. I always keep thinking, I got to listen to it. Well, okay, so I finally listened to it. When I think of Kansas, obviously I'm thinking of Carry On My Wayward Son and Dust in the Wind, which are 2 songs I never need to hear again in my life. This album, is better than that, but it's also, I don't know, it just seems kind of middle of the road to me. It has progressive elements to it, but to me, they're progressive elements that don't go anywhere. They just kind of stay the same. There's nothing that amazing on here. I know a lot of people like Kansas, and I understand it, why they probably would, but I don't know, just not doing a whole lot for me. I can't say. Another one that I can't see me listening to anytime soon, if ever. Some of these maybe I'll trade in, some I won't. Now this next, I'm not really trying to break your rules here, Jack, but I put all 3 of these together because it's Molly Hatchet. All right, I've got these 3 albums by Molly Hatchet, which have amazing album covers. I bought all these at different times, and I keep thinking, oh yeah, I got to listen to some Molly Hatchet, man, and I just never do. I just never seem to put it on. So I had to play some of this. I didn't play all 3 of them. I played like little parts here and there. And, my my feeling on it is it's not bad. I'm not a big Southern rock guy. I will say that, okay? You're thinking, oh, well, you're drinking cheap-ass beer. Still, I really got to be in the mood for Southern rock. And, you know, I mean, there's some stuff on here that's pretty good and everything if I'm in the mood for it. So if I'm in the mood for some Southern rock type thing that actually has some kind of a few different elements in here that I wasn't expecting, I'll put this on. So I'm going to save these. I can see me listening to these every now and then. So there we go. Molly Hatchet. Not way up here, but, you know, somewhere here. Next up, for my jazz buddies, I've had this for a long time, Dave Brubeck's Greatest Hits. You see Dave Brubeck shown a lot out there in the vinyl community. Most of you know I'm not a big jazz guy, so, you know, it's probably not fair. But I guess, honestly, when I played this, it's, you know, have you ever seen any of those movies, like old horror movies, or they're not even necessarily horror movies, like from the early 60s by American International, stuff like that, these grade B movies. They always have, like, a lot of times, different scenes where, you know, characters are running around or there's something, or some kind of background music. It sounds like this. That's just what this sounds like. And I mean, it's not, you know, it's not like horrible, but there's really, you know, maybe if I'm ironing my dungarees, I will put this album on at some point. Talented people, yeah. And then next up, this might be a surprise to some of you. So this is Alanis Morissette. This is an album I got a few years ago. I don't know, I can't see what it is, but it's some kind of live album. There, you can probably read it better than me. I don't have my glasses over here. This is a live album, and it's even, I can't remember, I think is it a double album? Yeah, this is a double album. So I really like Alanis Morissette, all right? I bought this thinking that this was a live album, electric. It's not. This is a more acoustic-like album, and so that's not what I was expecting. Let me look at this real quick over here. Yeah, so basically it has the entire first album on here and then a couple other tracks. So, you know, she already put out an unplugged album that I had on CD. So I was not expecting this to be that type of deal. Now, it's fine. It's fine, you know. But I'm not also the biggest fan of these acoustic albums, these unplugged albums. I like parts of them. There's always parts of them that I like. But generally, at some point, I'm like, all right, let's plug in now. You know, let's hit it. Let's rock it. You know, I get tired of the whole laid back aspect of some of it. Yeah, they have some powerful versions of songs, but as a whole, I have a hard time listening all the way through. Even albums that are kind of like famous, that, you know, people, you know, like Nirvana's Unplugged. That's got some great moments on it, but man, I can't listen to start from finish. I mean, probably one of the best ones to me is the Kiss Unplugged one that they did. But you know what? There's even certain moments there where I'm like, you know, I'd much rather hear this being played acoustically. So this is, because it is that way, I'm not going to be playing that much. That actually might be one I might trade in. Because maybe I can get something out of it and get something that I will listen to a lot. So anyway, there you go, Jack. I hope that was the way you wanted this video. There's some albums that I haven't listened to in a long time or have not listened to sitting in my collection. Went through them again. I'm sure you guys have plenty of albums like that. You know, sometimes I think we buy albums just because, you know, you hear people say, I have this many albums. I'm a serious collector. It's like, yeah, but how many of those albums are shit? Is the thing. So I think purges are not necessarily a bad thing. Some of these might get purged. Anyway, what's some of yours? Have you guys done this yet? I think it's a pretty cool thread. Make sure you check out my good buddy Jack, the Vinyl Martini, Mr. Smooth, and you know, maybe check out the next video I make. Till the next time, my friends, I will see you down the road.